hope you're doing well and welcome to the Horn Broadcasting Channel. My name is Mtalam Kosia. Today we want to talk about why the Horn of Africa nations are increasingly preferring the BRICS way. The geopolitical landscape of the Horn of Africa is undergoing a remarkable transformation. For decades, countries in the region looked primarily towards Western powers for economic assistance, military cooperation, development financing, and diplomatic support. Today, however, a new trend is becoming increasingly visible. Nations across the Horn of Africa are strengthening ties with BRICS countries and embracing what analysts call the BRICS way of international cooperation. The Horn of Africa, consisting primarily of Ethiopia, Somalia, Djibouti, Eritrea, and often including Sudan and South Sudan, sits at one of the world's most strategic locations. The region controls critical maritime routes connecting the Red Sea to the Indian Ocean through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, a passage used for a significant portion of global trade. Today, these countries are increasingly diversifying their international partnerships. They are no longer relying exclusively on traditional Western allies. Instead, they are deepening engagement with BRICS nations such as China, Russia, India, Brazil, and South Africa. But why is this happening? Now, we need to go to point number one, which is the search for economic independence. One of the biggest reasons is the desire for economic independence. Many Horn countries have historically depended on loans and aid packages from Western institutions such as the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. While these institutions have provided vital support, governments in the region often argue that financial assistance comes with strict conditions regarding economic reforms, governance structures, and fiscal policies. BRICS nations present a different model. China, for example, has invested billions of dollars in African infrastructure without demanding extensive political reforms. This approach appeals to governments seeking rapid development while maintaining greater control over domestic affairs. A clear example is Ethiopia. The Chinese-backed Addis Ababa-Djibouti Railway transformed transportation between landlocked Ethiopia to the port of Djibouti. Before the railway, cargo transformation could take days. Today, transport times have been significantly reduced, facilitating trade and industrial growth. For many leaders in the region, such projects demonstrate tangible results rather than lengthy negotiation tied to political conditions. Point number two is infrastructure before lectures. Another reason Horn countries are embracing BRICS partnership is the emphasis on infrastructure development. Across Africa, leaders frequently complain about infrastructure deficits that limit economic growth. Roads, railways, ports, industrial parks, airports, and power stations require billions of dollars in investment. China has emerged as a major infrastructure partner throughout the Horn. Examples include the Addis Ababa-Djibouti Railway, industrial parks across Ethiopia, port expansion projects in Djibouti, telecommunication infrastructure, renewable energy investments. Many governments view these projects as practical tools for development rather than theoretical discussions about development. This has strengthened perceptions that BRIC countries prioritize economic transformation and connectivity. Point number three, frustration with the existing global financial system. Another major factor is dissatisfaction with the global financial architecture. Many developing nations argue that institutions created after the Second World War do not adequately represent today's economic realities. Countries across Africa often point out that they have limited influence within major international financial organizations despite representing a large share of the world's population. The BRICS bloc has promoted alternatives such as the New Development Bank. The bank was established to provide financing for infrastructure and sustainable development projects in emerging economies. For Horn nations struggling with debt burdens and financing gaps, additional sources of funding are extremely attractive. Governments see these as creating competition in global financing, potentially giving them more bargaining power. Number four, the rise of a multipolar world. The Horn of Africa is also adapting to what many analysts describe as a multipolar world. For decades, international politics was heavily influenced by a few dominant Western powers. Today, emerging powers are playing increasingly important roles. Countries such as China, India, and Russia are expanding their presence in Africa through trade, diplomacy, investment, technology, and security cooperation. Horn nations are responding by pursuing balanced foreign policies. Instead of choosing one side, they seek relationships with multiple global powers simultaneously. For example, Ethiopia maintains relations with China, the United States, Russia, the European Union, and Gulf countries. Djibouti hosts military facilities for several major powers. Somalia works with Western powers while expanding ties with emerging economies. Sudan has historically maintained relationships with diverse international actors. This strategy allows government to maximize opportunities while reducing dependence on a single partner. Another thing is strategic competition in the Red Sea. The Red Sea has become one of the world's most contested geopolitical regions. Major powers understand that control and influence over this region can affect global trade, energy security, and military logistics. BRICS countries, particularly China and India, have significant interest in maintaining access to Red Sea trade routes. China's first overseas military support facility was established in Djibouti, reflecting the strategic importance of the region. Meanwhile, India has increased economic and diplomatic engagement across East Africa. Horn nations recognize that their geographic position provides leverage. By engaging with the BRICS partners, they can attract investment and strategic attention that supports national development goals. Another thing is the Ethiopia example. Perhaps no country better illustrates BRICS attraction than Ethiopia. Ethiopia officially joined BRICS grouping in 2024. For Ethiopian policymakers, membership offers several potential advantages: greater access to investment, expanded trade opportunities, enhanced diplomatic influence, alternative development financing, stronger South-South cooperation. Ethiopia's economy has been one of Africa's fastest growing over the past 2 decades, and leaders see BRICS as a platform that aligns with their ambitions to become a regional economic powerhouse. The move also reflects confidence that the future global economy will increasingly influenced by emerging markets. Another thing is the South-South cooperation. Many Horn governments are attracted by the concept of South-South cooperation. The idea is simple. Developing countries can learn from one another's experiences rather than relying exclusively on guidance from wealthier nations. China's industrialization, India's technology sector growth, Brazil's agriculture transformation, and South Africa's regional economic leadership provides examples that African governments study closely. Leaders often argue that countries facing similar development challenges may offer more relevant solutions than those developed under very different historical circumstances. Another thing is technology and industrialization. BRICS partnerships are also helping accelerate technology transfer and industrialization. Chinese companies have invested in manufacturing zones across Ethiopia. Indian firms have expanded their presence in pharmaceuticals, information technology, education, and healthcare. Russian cooperation has focused on energy, security, and technical expertise. For countries with youthful populations and growing labor forces, industrialization remains a top priority. The Horn region understands that creating jobs for millions of young people will require expanding manufacturing, technology, logistics, and value-added industries. BRICS nations are increasingly viewed as partners capable of supporting this transition. Another thing is a reaction to global double standards. Another issue often raised by leaders and commentators is the perception of double standards in international affairs. Some governments argue that Western countries apply principles of democracy, human rights, and sovereignty inconsistently. Whether these criticisms are fully justified or not, they resonate with portions of the political leadership across Africa. BRICS countries frequently emphasize principles such as sovereignty equality, non-interference, respect for national development paths, mutual benefit. These messages are often welcomed by governments seeking greater autonomy in domestic decision-making. Another thing is the youth perspective. Young people across the Horn of Africa are also shaping this conversation. Many youths see China, India, and other emerging economies as example countries that rapidly transform themselves within a few decades. They observe modern cities, expanding industries, advanced technology sectors, rising middle class. These developments inspire discussions about how African countries can achieve similar progress. The BRICS narrative often emphasizes economic growth, infrastructure, industrialization, and technological advancement, issues that resonate strongly with young populations seeking employment and opportunity. Looking ahead, the relationship between Horn of Africa and BRICS is likely to deepen. The region's strategic location, young population, and growing geopolitical importance makes it an attractive partner for emerging powers. At the same time, Horn nations are increasingly seeking diversified partnerships that reduce dependence on a single bloc. Rather than replacing relationships with the Western countries, many governments are pursuing a strategy of engagement with all major powers. The BRICS way, in this context, represents more than a geopolitical choice. It reflects a broader desire for economic transformation, strategic autonomy, infrastructure development, and a stronger voice in global affairs. The real question is how effectively these countries can use these partnerships to achieve sustainable development, regional stability, and long-term prosperity for their people. If you've got any question or contribution, please do so in the comment section. My name is Mtalam Kwasia, and this is the Horn Broadcasting Channel.